They say some towns die when the last resident leaves. Others fade when the world forgets them. But San Orillo didn't die. It was taken, and now it wants to come back. For weeks after escaping the vanished desert town, Danny Trejo tried to pretend life was normal again. He traveled. He worked. He kept moving forward. But the human mind has limits, and once you've seen something that reality says cannot exist, normal life becomes the lie. It started with whispers. Soft at first, barely audible like distant voices trapped inside wind. They followed him everywhere. In hotel rooms at night, inside quiet hallways, even in crowded places where silence should not exist. And always the same words. Don't forget us. Then, one day, the whispering stopped. Silence returned. And that silence felt worse. Because silence meant something was waiting. Then came the letter. No sender. No postal stamp. No markings. Just his name, written in uneven ink, like a shaking hand had desperately tried to hold the pen steady. Inside was a single photograph. San Orillo, the church. Perfect. Alive. Lit. Whole. Except it shouldn't exist. The last time Danny saw San Orillo, it disappeared into literal nothingness. Yet here it was, looking brand new, like time itself had been reversed. There were people in the photograph, too, standing outside the church, not smiling, not moving, just staring. Their eyes weren't alive. They were begging. And on the back of the photograph, 3 words were scratched, so deep the paper almost tore. We resent you. Not resent, resent. Meaning, San Orillo didn't come back. It was returned. By something. Or someone. Danny felt it in his bones. He wasn't finished with San Orillo. And San Orillo wasn't finished with him. So he drove back. Hours through empty desert highway. Flatlands stretching forever beneath an endless sky. The silence hanging heavy like the world was holding its breath. Then, there it was. San Orillo stood exactly where it never should be. Warm lights in the windows. Smoke slowly curling from chimneys. Shadows moving behind dusty curtains. Alive. Or pretending to be. He stepped out his truck. The wind stopped instantly. No sound. No motion. No life. The desert didn't breathe anymore. He walked. Every step echoed through the hollow streets, like the town listened to every movement. The air smelled wrong, like rain in a place where rain hasn't existed for centuries. He reached the diner. He pushed open the door. The bell chimed, and the world stopped again. People sat frozen at tables, forks hovering midair, cups inches from lips, eyes wide open, alive, aware, but unable to move. They weren't ghosts. They weren't dead. They were trapped inside time, forced to endlessly exist in the final second before they vanished. Their eyes followed him. Only their eyes. Slowly, silently, begging. Then the jukebox turned on by itself. No power, no touch, just sound. But instead of music, voices began speaking through it. Layered, thick, thousands at once. Don't dig deeper. He's watching. He hears curiosity. He punishes discovery. Then one final line. It's not the town. It's the wound. Suddenly, a small child at a table moved. Just a finger, shaking weakly, pointing toward the church. And instantly, every frozen head in the diner snapped toward the same direction. Perfectly, silently, unnaturally. The message was clear. Go to the church. The church stood impossibly tall against the sky, its shadow stretching farther than any shadow should. The door opened before Danny could touch it. Inside, the pews were full. Men, women, children. Every lost resident of San Orillo sat silently, hands folded, heads bowed, like prisoners forced to pray forever. The candles lit themselves. The whispers came back. But this time, they weren't chaotic. They were synchronized, controlled, a chorus of suffering. Danny stepped closer. The altar began to glow faintly. The same warning echoed again, but not the same words. Last time the town said, "Don't look up." This time, the voices said, "Don't look back." Every instinct screamed that something stood behind him, watching, waiting, close, breathing. He didn't turn. He forced himself forward. He reached the altar, and then the floor opened. Not like a trapdoor, like reality itself split open. A hole, a swirling pit of silent darkness, a tear in existence. Faces drifted in it again, falling endlessly, alive, conscious, screaming without sound. The same woman he saw before appeared again. Her expression different now. Not begging, warning. Her voice wasn't in the room. It was in his mind. He didn't take us to kill us. Reality shook. He took us, so we couldn't warn the world. Suddenly the town shook violently. Glass shattered inward. The candles blew out. Every body in the pews lifted slowly, dragged toward the endless void. They didn't scream. They couldn't. They just reached out, hands stretching, faces twisted in silent terror, begging for help. The whispering became a storm. Go, 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 go. A shadow rose from the pit. Not a creature, not alive, not dead. Something made of absence. A silhouette with no shape. A living hole in existence. It didn't roar. It didn't threaten. It only stared. And Danny understood something horrible. San Orillo was not a mistake. It was a test, a rehearsal, and whatever did this was not finished with Earth. The world went black. When Danny opened his eyes, he was miles away, standing beside his truck on the highway. The desert looked normal, but San Orillo, gone. Again, like it had never existed. Except, something new remained. 3 long scratch marks carved into his truck door, made by human fingers. Burned into the metal beneath them were words that didn't belong to human language. Yet he understood them perfectly. Next time, it's not a warning. Danny looked toward the endless desert, and he knew San Orillo isn't gone. It's moving, waiting, choosing its next location, its next victims, its next disappearance. Because somewhere out there, a peaceful town sleeps. A town that thinks nothing bad ever happens. A town unaware that has already been chosen. And when the clocks hit 2:17 a.m., they won't leave. They will be taken.